Hello, everyone, and Madayaw. Welcome once again. It's me, Teacher Maita, and we have a new video for you. This video is for teachers. We are going to be talking about strategies for film. So you are a teacher and you have assigned your students to make a film. Whether this is the school who is making you do this, or you who want to make sure your students have a bright future ahead. The thing about assigning student films are, it is tedious. You have to check on them constantly because there is still this leftover mindset that they have about it being a student film. So we're going to be talking about strategies here for teachers when you are teaching film for high school. A lot of the things here will be facilitation. It's going to be a wild ride, and I hope it's not going to be that bumpy. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how I teach my children by actually asking them to innovate. Now, creating films as a project is a 21st century skill. They're going to need this. Alrighty, let's start. First is when you're assigning the film. It might be part of the curriculum of the school that's already been handed to you, or you're going to start from scratch. In my case, I was the one who made the curriculum of the school. So I started from scratch. I wanted original works. In your school, it could be that there is already an assigned task. Like they should be doing this, they should be putting this up. Now, why film? If you are looking at the DepEd guideline, curriculum guidelines, it actually says there that they have to make or put up a play, which was very hard during the pandemic. How are we going to put up a play when we were online and everybody was everywhere else? Even before that, even before the pandemic, I already started the film project with my students because we are a flexible school. There are some of our students who are taking this modularly and some of them who are doing this online. We only had a limited number of students who were coming to class. How are we going to put up a play that way? Well, putting up a play and putting up a film, they do share some of the concepts. A lot of them will be on collaboration and innovation. So what if your school don't have a place? It doesn't have a large enough gym or multi-purpose hall for something like this. A film would be a good strategy. How you will assign the story will be up to you. You could put up a theme every year, or you could have an open theme where everyone can think of their films instead. Now, when you are assigning that role, could be like, you could say Shakespeare, or A Point in History, or Lives of the Filipino Hero, or Lives of Saints. That would be up to you. But assigning the film or opening up the theme for them will get tricky. You will have to move in the guidelines of your school. I had students that maybe pushed it a little bit, said some bad words, thinking it's cool because it's a film, which is not allowed for our school because we are a Catholic school. Showing of drinks and drugs also not allowed. If you are portraying mental illness, needs to be really screened very well because we don't want to trigger anyone, right? We want to put something real. Okay, we'll put something real, but it has to have nuances. It has to be very sensitive. It can't be just, I declare this person having mental illness. It can't be that way. So you really have to sit your students down when you are assigning this film. Now, are they going to be in groups, in pairs, as a class, or individually? I had a group, or I had a batch who worked as a big class. I had a batch who worked individually, and I had a class who worked 2s and 3s. So this will be up to the students because I don't want to force them, especially now that we have moved fully offline. Sorry, we have moved fully online even after the lockdowns. We have decided that no matter what, we'll keep things online. Now we have students from all over the globe. They can't do a play. It's hard to collaborate, but it is very easy to collaborate online. So let us move on. What would be the content of their film? For my class, I'm only assigning them 10 minutes. In that 10 minutes, they have already given me a story from start to finish. I told them, do not give me an open-ended. If it's an open ending, it's a satisfying open ending. I will not accept things like to be continued because this is it. Your 10 minutes should be everything that you want to tell them. You want to extend a little bit to like 15, 20 minutes, that's up to you. But for me, I will be grading 10 minutes and I'm happy with 10 minutes. So if they really want to like push the envelope and extending it to something a little further, remember, they have to be editing that and rendering that. The longer your film is, the longer the rendering time is, unless your computer is very powerful. That has to be factored into time management. So please make your students aware. Let's go to the content of the film, which is here on the screen. What will this film be graded, judged at? What should be in it? First and foremost, the story. The story is what the audience, not just you, because you as the teacher will be looking at everything else. You're going to be looking at the technical elements of theater and performing arts. That is a separate video. Please look into my channel to find that. The story is what the general audience will be looking at. Does it flow well? Story and flow should be something understood right away. Otherwise, they've just wasted their 10 minutes. They wasted the whole term just to do this 10 minutes, right? Style is the next thing. Style is something that you cannot put your finger into it. Style will tell them what this identity of theirs will be, what their branding content will be. Innovation. In innovation, that is something that's very current, very 21st century. You cannot not use the innovations now. There are so many things out there. I do not let the students just use one program and that's it. No, I tell them, go out there, research online, do whatever you want in editing this, as long as it's not an illegal program, of course. Use what you have to use where you're comfortable in using it. I'm using OpenShot. It's so simple. Everything's drag and drop. Makes my life easier. You want to use something else like CapCut, Flip a Clip, things like that. Go for it. Heck, you can even edit your videos in Canva. I've done that. I've got some videos that I've made in Canva. For this video, I'm using Zoom. You could also do that. I've had a student who filmed her documentary using Zoom because that was the time of the lockdown. Everything else is in the editing work. Innovation. For innovations, you have to look also, not just that. Tools right now like AI will make your life easier. There are AIs that will give you subtitles. There are AIs that would grammatically check stuff for you, translate for you, do things for you. Even here, generate some of the images, which you will see here in the video. Don't be afraid to use them. But as a teacher, you have to check the guidelines of your school if you're allowed to use them or not. I'm allowed to use AI-generated images, but not AI-generated content. Things like Copy AI and ChatGPT, not allowed. So you have to work within the school too. Let's move on to marketability. This is tricky because you're teaching your students to be professional. We want them to know that they are already trying out the industry standards. Because if you are just going to give them, it's a student video, student project, student film, I'm judging you based on student, all that. They're never going to learn. This is senior high school, or if you're teaching junior high, yeah, high school it is. This is the level that they have to achieve already working, as sad as that is. Why? Because the art industry is very cutthroat, even the film industry. There's a streaming war happening now. And even YouTube is saying, like, whoa, you can make your money, serious money out of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all those using content. And what we're doing, the film, is content. So you'd never know, one of your students might become viral. So marketability really plays a big chunk into this. This is their career. Why are they going to do something that will not benefit their career? As a teacher, you really have to guide them that they're innovative and stylistic video is very marketable. The story flows, it's got great style. They've used all the innovations that they want or can use in their fingertips. And it is a very lucrative video. It is something that might be monetizable in the future because they have to pass industry standard by the time they graduate high school. So why are you going to let them do something childish? Student film. There's this derogatory thing when you just say, oh, I'm just making them do student films. No, you're going to be making them do professional films. Last part of the content is X factor and originality. How are they going to be original if I'm just going to make them do another Jose Rizal film? How are they going to be original if I just assign them Life of a Saint or Shakespeare? Well, that's the X factor that we are looking for. You don't have an original story, but it might flow well. They made it flow in such a way that they've rearranged the timeline. They've added quite a stylistic touch to it. It's very innovative, the way they use the tools that they have. Thus, it is marketable. So the X factor is something that you just can't put your finger to it. But hey, it's one heck of a film. Reminders. I'm back to the reminders. I'm reminding you as a teacher to not think of this as a student film. As stated, if you make them think of it as a student film, it's all it's ever going to be. But you are there to make it into a professional film because you are making them think professionally. Therefore, you have to drill it to them not to think of it as student film, student film, student film. Nope. Professional film. Now, this is a showcase for you and a showcase for your students. You being the school institution, because you are representing the school's institution. This is a showcase for everyone. So you better make it count. Now, they have to manage their resources well, because another thing that you learn, especially in senior high, is time management. Now, that is something quite hard to really teach because we can only tell them to manage your time well. Sit down, give some time to your homework, to this one, to that one, and this one. At the end of the day, they have to learn to manage themselves. It's not something that you teach step by step. You just can't. How can you? Ask a parent and tell them to message me if they found a way to actually teach their child how to manage their time well. I'd be very, very happy to cover that because this is one of those things that they have to really learn on their own, management. Back to our reminders, I'm going to put this in bullet points. If you think of your student film as a student film, that's all it's ever going to be. There is a saying, aim for the roof and land on the floor. Aim for the stars and land on the roof. When you just say we're going to make a student film, you're just aiming for the roof. And when you aim for the roof, when you jump back down and you fall, you're on the floor. Sorry, you're on the floor. Now, We want to aim for the stars. We're going to aim for it being already competitive and original and professional. We're going to aim for the stars. We're going to aim higher, higher than the roof, higher than your ceiling. Go beyond that. Then you'll land on the roof. Because sometimes, yeah, we don't get what we want, but we land on the roof. We didn't land on the floor. So, aim for the stars. Back to being a showcase. Deliver only the best. I had students who kept apologizing for, I'm sorry, miss, my project's a little crappy. It's not the best. It's not that great. Here it is. Then ask them, why are you giving me crap? Why are you giving me not the best? I want you to give me the best. Don't give me this. This is a way for students to show off their talent, or not show off, more of showcase their talent. And in a way, that is also showcasing the brand of the school. Your school would like to be an innovative school. All schools strive for that. So this is also related to the third bullet point. This is the school's brand name. Show them what we've got. We've got students who can do this. We have teachers who can facilitate them into doing this. Let's show them what we've got. Let's go back to resources. I cannot reiterate this well. Managing resources is tricky to teach. You can only teach them so much. You can only say, okay, this is a budgeting plan of how you do your film. This is a time management plan of how you can manage your time well. At the end of the day, they have to be able to apply that. And they're really going to learn the hard way. Financial resources, that's the first thing. Usually their parents will give them a little something to help them with that. Maybe even Lola and Tita or Ninang and Ninong will give them a little something to make sure that they have a little bit of resources to play around with for their film. How are they going to use that? They could feed their volunteers, use it for grab money, taxi, Uber, whatever. You could use that for buying things, props in the movie, or even buying programs that would help you greatly when you're editing your film. Technical and human resources. Maybe all your friends have volunteered. All your family members, cousins, siblings, they've all volunteered to help you. This is part of your technical skills as well. What are your skills and their skills, and how will you utilize it in such a way that you can utilize their resources or their skills well, because they are a resource. You find out that your auntie is actually very good in acting. Your uncle is actually very good in singing. You have a cousin who can actually play the guitar well. Use those resources well. Last but not the least, time as resource. A lot of people cannot balance their time well. Even sometimes I have a hard time. I feel like 24 hours a day is not enough. I'm not even getting enough sleep. But that's often what we lack, time. Actually, we don't lack time. We just lack the resource to handle our time well. Now, time is very finite. There is a given. It does not wait for us. They need to know how to manage it well. The students right now, they need to know at this point how to manage that well, because if they move on to college or start working, well, nobody's going to teach them or remind them things anymore. So at first, you are going to be doing a lot of reminders, do this, do this, do this. Yeah, but after that, they need to learn how to do it themselves. So if you ask Teacher Maita, how are you going to utilize your resources well? Well, plan. This is something you could teach them to plan. Tell them to sit down. Tell them they really have to plan, and they really have to plan well. They can't just magically want to do this. It's not going to happen that way. In every professional film, when they're out there, or when you see James Cameron or Steven Spielberg, they actually have a working timeline. Peter Jackson, He was filming all three Lord of the Rings simultaneously, and one scene over the other because they already built Rivendell, so they have to film all the Rivendell scenes before they move on to the next. So you need a working timeline, a step by step. So you have to plan it really well. If you are the same, let's say you're filming on location, but I'm only on this location at so and so time. Therefore, you're really going to have to make a plan. All right, I'll be in so and so's house on this date only. Therefore, I have to film scene 3, 4, and 5, and 10 all at once. I have to get all my actors together and the lighting crew and who's going to help me do the sound crew. We're going to have to go there at this date. We have to go here on that date. We have to film this on that date. It's really going to have to be very specific and very step by step. It can't work without it. After you've assigned them in making the script, which is going to be a long process because it's going to have to flow, ask them to peer review their script first. Then you can do industry peer review. So what I did is, after they submitted it, I actually gathered some industry professionals, script writers, directors, and I've asked them to read the script and critique it as if they were in the industry. Yes, it helped me as a teacher put their grade on, and they did get grades from the industry, but don't worry, I balanced it with mine, which was a little higher because I did have to consider that they're students. But they had a taste of what it would be like to be reviewed by the industry. Some of them found it very painful. Some of them found it wonderful to have the insights that they had with these industry professionals. Now that they have it, time to start making their films. How are you going to level up this film experience for them? Because there were parents who complained. Not a lot, but there were. In how many years I've been teaching performing arts and the film project, there were some who were questioning, why are you going to make them do film? Aren't they just in high school? This is something so big. And then I tell them, parent, no, this is not something so big. They need to level up because the industry is headed towards that innovation. Everybody needs to be a well-rounded artist. So students who say, I just want to be a multimedia artist, I just want to be a visual artist, but you can't just stay in your lane. Not anymore. Not in the art industry. You have to know all aspects. You have to be a multi-platformed artist. You need to know each aspects of them. You need to know your basics as well. So not only do you need your elements of the arts, principles of design and composition, now you also have to look at things with technical elements of theater and performing arts. Why? I'm not performing. Yeah, but you're going to be doing podcasts. You're going to be interviewed. You're going to be doing a little bit of film, videos, and things like that to promote your artwork. You need all this. You need a well-rounded knowledge of everything. And performing arts, because video is it's the most in thing right now when you are promoting yourself as a brand and your social medias and all that. You need all this. And if you employ the technical elements of the arts, it's really going to elevate you among all other artists. And we are very competitive in this industry. So how do you, as a teacher, help level up the film experience of your students? Ask them to collaborate. I know some of them will hate each other's guts. Then ask them to collaborate with other classes. Ask them to collaborate with other people. They need that experience. Nobody can run a business on their own. They will really need to ask for help. Even asking help from their parents, collaborating with their siblings and cousins and friends. They need to know that skill. Because if they don't, that's something that they're going to be battling, especially when they're already competing in the industry. Next, invite the professionals to motivate them. When they know, oh, there's a professional person who's actually going to look at our scripts, look at our film, give us a critique, a very honest critique, because some people really appreciate a very honest view. And these ones from the industry, if they are going to critique your work, well, that is something very new to the students, and it will augment that this is not just a student work. You guys are now competing. You guys are now this, right? Finally, reward the innovators. Praise them, give them certificate, make them, make them proud of themselves. Because a lot of people will really put themselves down first, especially our students, before they jump back up. Now, if you tell them, hey, you did a good job. This 10 minutes, it's wonderful. It flows. It's very marketable. It's very innovative. There's this X factor that I just can't put my finger to it. Good job. So these are some of the questions that you might ask your students, especially about their film. Does your movie look good? The visual aspect. That's the first thing. The visual aspect. Will it be a very visually stunning thing? You can do that even when you're just a student. Don't think of yourself as a student, and it will look good. Does it look professional? Remember, professionalism. You have to be competing with the industry already. So does it look professional? Does it have all the credits? Everybody's there. It looks great. Everything's consistent. Consistency will help it look more professional. Can we understand the story? It is only 10 minutes what I assign my students. So it's up to you how you assign your students, how long you want it. Now you're going to be putting up a short amount of time for this. Sometimes the story does suffer. So can we understand the story? Because that's also part of the marketability of the film. Please take note of the new policies. With new tools come new policies. Number one thing is the use of copyrighted material. A lot of students, because in their mindset, it's just a student film. I can use whatever I want. I can just Google the photos and video clips that I want. No. You cannot. We are teaching them professionability here. And you as a teacher also have to tell them that this is not a good practice. And in all your assignments, you shouldn't encourage them in using whatever photos that they want. Okay, you need to limit them to non-copyrighted or royalty-free images, such as Pixabay, Pexels, vectors for free, and those type of graphics or those types of videos. Sometimes the students think, oh, it's supposed to be free, right? It's royalty free because it's in Gettysburg, Dreamstime, Adobe Spark, and all that. No, you still have to pay the $1 to be able to use that. And if you don't pay the $1, it's going to have watermarks in it. That's also highly discouraged. I have scolded a student because we had like industry professionals and they were doing their panel in front of them. And I saw her images and it had like Adobe Spark watermark all over it. I said, didn't I tell you before not to use that? And she'd be like, but it has the pictures that I want to showcase what I want. Yeah, whatever her explanation is. Bottom line is she couldn't find the perfect picture. So I said, okay, I will allow you to use AI. That way you can generate an image that you can use for this. Don't steal images. I'd rather you make AI, because the stance on AI is it's non-copyrighted. That's the sad thing about AI. You can't copyright it. It's non-copyrightable. Unfortunately, also, the artists have all lost because I think they're going to garner an appeal. So I don't know how that's going to take. But so far, because style cannot be copyrighted, AI images back in the market. I told my students, I'd rather you use AI to generate an image for your presentations than steal it, then Google it, then, get those watermarked images there. I'd rather use AI for that. But because you are teachers, you have to clear it with your school, your institution, if you are allowed to use those AI tools. So in our school, ChatGPT, Copy AI, and those type of generative contents like those is out, but I am allowed to use AI generated graphics. Next is for minors. We are teaching high school here. They will be minors. Those who will star in their films will be minors as well. Ask your student to get a letter of permission from a parent or guardian allowing said classmate, minor, friend that they are going to be participating in that film. Why? Because this is part of the professionalism aspect. You may collect it, hold it for your student. Perhaps the school will also require it. But yeah, if not, let the student keep it, because if they submit the film in professional competitions, amateur competitions, and things like those, experimental films and showcases like those, they might need that because everybody in that film will be minors. All right. If your students are ready, you can ask them to upload to YouTube. That's the best way to upload, especially if the file is too high. So yeah, you could ask your industry professional friends to come and review it. You can make a watch party or some event. I'm going to have that event, I think, at the end of April or mid-April with my students. So I can't wait. I have already tapped some industry professionals and they will be there to watch. All right. So thank you, everybody, for that. I hope you like and follow my content. I have videos for teachers and videos for students. Thank you very much. This is Teacher Maita and Madayaw.